Sidney Crosby is ready to go for the Four Nations, while Quinn Hughes is not. Hey everyone, welcome into Off the Post. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Steve Simmons and Patrick Johnston. And guys, the Four Nations face-off finally upon us, with games starting up on Wednesday. The big news for Team Canada was whether or not Sidney Crosby would suit up after getting injured last week. But after the first practice, Steve Crosby announcing that he will play in the opener against Sweden. Good timing to ask you this, of course. You recently wrote about the Penguins captain, and considering he's probably not 100%, do you think this is the right move for him to be playing in this tournament?
I will do exactly what the Pittsburgh Penguins did, and that is I'll allow Sid to make the decision for himself. I don't think anybody knows his body better than he does. I don't think anybody knows what this means to him better than he does. And so if he had to take a few games off from a Penguin season going nowhere, so that he can play for Canada at something that means something special to him, I think he's earned that right at this stage of his career and at this stage of being, one of the great players in NHL history. Maybe he can't do the Sidney things that we expect him to do, but knowing Crosby, he would not want to put himself in a position, or more importantly, put his team in a position where his health would hurt the team.
It's hard to imagine a guy playing on a line with Mark Stone and Nathan McKinnon is not going to be fine, And then then you say it's Sidney Crosby. As Steve said, listen, the Penguins know this guy inside and out. This guy knows himself inside and out. If he says he's ready to go, he's going to be ready to go. Because if he wasn't able to contribute, we also know that he would say, I can't do the job, and I'm not going to be able to do the job. So it's exciting for Canada. It means a lot for the young player. It's hard to say. Connor McDavid isn't a young player anymore, but guys like that are going to be absolutely thrilled to have him there and show the way and be that Captain Canada that I think people have been wanting to see for a very long time.
Well, you think most of this roster was watching from home in Vancouver when Team Canada won the gold medal and Crosby scored the golden goal, and they were watching from Sochi, when Team Canada absolutely dominated, maybe the most dominant performance in Olympic hockey history. Just an absolute spectacular tournament that turned out to be. And I thought it was fascinating on the ice today. They're kneeling down, stretching beside each other. There was Sidney Crosby and Drew Doughty. Doughty was spectacular in both 2010 and 2014. He actually outscored Sid in the two tournaments combined. And to see those two guys together, and probably all the other players kind of looking over thinking, that's Crosby, that's Doughty. I watched those guys on my TV with my mom and dad,
I find myself, it's amazing to think Steve's point there about how young all of these guys would have been. And it's a shame that, I think this is why I'm kind of getting excited about this tournament. I wasn't sure I was going to be, but I'm getting into it now because of the idea of seeing the likes of Connor McDavid playing for Canada. Something we just had not seen up. Connor McDavid was 28 years old. Sidney Crosby was 23, 22 even, I think, when he scored the golden goal. You just think about the differences in sort of international experience. And it shouldn't have been like that. We should have seen Connor McDavid playing for Canada so many times, but circumstances not allowed it. Some of it's corporate greed. I'm glad to see that this is happening. I hope that this tournament delivers, and certainly we're hopeful that we get a similar thing at the Olympics next year.
Yeah, well, they call him Sid the Kid, but he's 37 years old now, and who knows how many chances he has left at big international tournaments like this. On the flip side, Quinn Hughes was supposed to play for Team USA, but has decided to withdraw due to injury. How difficult do you think that decision was for him, and did he ultimately make the right move, withdrawing completely?
Yeah, listen, he's a guy that wants the highest competition. We heard it before he won the Norris Trophy last year. For a couple seasons, it was a talking point with him. He was so annoyed when the topic would turn to how good is he actually defensively, and he was very good defensively, just people saw him as an offensive player. But last year he took that step forward. This year he's taken an even further step forward. He has become a truly top-end, all-time dominant defenseman. He's a guy that wants to be the best. He wants to show that he is the best. So he was definitely all in on playing in this event. A really difficult decision, but in the end, I think as everyone can tell, it's a question of he's going to get a couple more weeks off. He's already been out for a week. He'll have 3 weeks to have recuperated from this. He would have been able to play, it certainly sounds like, but he ran the risk of sort of re-aggravating. It sounds like it's some kind of basically a muscle strain, oblique muscle strain. He ran the risk of re-aggravating that and then missing 2, 3, 4 more weeks later on. And obviously his number one priority is to lead the Vancouver Canucks, not just into the playoffs, but make an impact in the playoffs. And he wants to be fully healthy to do that.
If you're an honest voter in the NHL, and I'm not certain everyone is, but if you are, and you're putting together your ballot today, your Hart Trophy top 3 must have Quinn Hughes in the top 3. Your Norris Trophy top 2 must have Quinn Hughes in the top 2. We're talking about a guy who absolutely lives to play the game, loves to play the game, grew up playing the game. I got to know the family quite well in their time living in the Toronto area, and when they were all little guys playing hockey in the GTHL. And I can tell you for certain, knowing mom and dad as well as I know mom and dad, and knowing these kids, that boy did Quinn and Jack want to play together, probably with Luke. They probably wanted all 3 of them playing together on Team USA. And this was a wonderful opportunity for these phenomenally skilled brothers. You can call them Canadian, you can call them American, whatever they are. They're great hockey players. And that if he's not playing, it is breaking his heart, because this is where he wanted to be. This is who he wanted to play with. And I'm sure the whole family had planned to be in Montreal and in Boston to watch everybody play. And, I just feel terrible for Quinn Hughes that he's doing what he's doing in this really special season. And he's going to have a lot more special ones after this one. But he's just become, I think, more than anybody ever anticipated he would become.
I've got a story coming later this week on him, but I don't mind talking a little bit about the process that went into it. And obviously having the Leafs here in town the end last week was fantastic, because I got to talk to a couple of really key former teammates of his, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Chris Tanev, then obviously talked to Canucks. And, to a man, they all talked about the focus and desire that he has. The people love on social media seeing the video of Quinn Hughes sitting there on the bench, staring straight ahead with his stick, ready, looking like he's loading back up as if he's some sort of animated character. And I asked Elias Pettersson about that, and he just laughed. He said, that's just how Quinn is. He's just that focused. He wants to be the best. He's going to be the best when he steps on the ice. And you're absolutely right, Steve. It's a real shame that we're not going to get to see him perform in this kind of an environment this year.
Yeah, it's a massive blow for Team USA as the action all gets started on Wednesday. Canada versus Sweden. Team USA takes on Finland at the Four Nations face-off. As always, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. For Patrick Johnston and Steve Simmons, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.